Alright, in this video we're going to be going over the power of being alone. Now, in order to understand yourself more and to become more confident and be able to actually go out in the world and be the person that you want to be, you have to become more comfortable with your self thoughts. Now, the way that you think about yourself depends on person to person, but if you come from, a background that's not the most positive, it's not always easy to be super positive with your thinking. And so some of these negative thoughts that you may have may be detracting you from certain qualities of your life that you want to have, or building on certain skills that you want to have. And so when you actually become more comfortable with yourself, you can actually start spending more time with yourself to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, and start pinpointing the thoughts that you need to kind of reverse or do a 180 on in order to have a more positive mindset. And so I know for me personally, it took me a while to be comfortable with just by myself, or being by myself. And so, like, for example, this past weekend, I wanted to go out. I had some friends that, wanted to go out and party as well too. And so I partied with them, I think, on Friday night, and I wasn't the most pleased with our party experience. So I said to myself, you know what? I don't need, to be with a group of people in order to have a good time. So that following night, I just went out by myself. I went to this bar that has like arcade games and a really good range of different beers and ciders, and I just chilled by myself. I had a way better experience than the previous night where I was going around trying to introduce myself to people, trying to be comfortable with everybody in the room, going from one party to the next party and trying to get the vibes and trying to do all this extra stuff just to feel like I'm there or to feel like I'm part of the crowd. Like, it's hard to do that sometimes. Like, it's very hard to throw yourself into, like, being there when you haven't been there a lot, or you're not there all the time, or you're just not comfortable with the people that you see around you. So I'm telling you, when you take that step back and you realize that, it is nice to go out with people sometimes, but you can have an even better time if you go out by yourself. And when you usually do, you have less expectations of what's going to happen, because you don't need to, like, have other people around you to validate where the next move is, or how you should be feeling, or where your alcohol level should be at, or how much drugs you should have inside of you, whatever. Whatever it is, whatever your vices are, I don't really care. But when you're by yourself, you have more control over that. So then you're more comfortable usually being whatever level that you want to be at. You don't need to get yourself any higher or any lower. You just are where you are. And when you start doing that, like I said, when you go out, that's kind of one thing. But then when you start doing that in day-to-day life, for me, before, I used to always need to have to, like, talk to people in order to feel validated, or to just feel like I'm a person. But when you start actually taking that step back and realizing that you don't need all these people around in order to do that, you start accomplishing more self goals. I know for me, I was able to do a career switch. I've been able to accomplish quite a bit in the career I had previously. And it all starts with how you think of yourself, and you have to be by yourself in order to have better thoughts. And so I wanted to start explaining more of how to do this. When it comes down to being alone, you have to plan when you want to be alone. It's not necessary that you could just go out and just be alone. You have to actually plan for it at first, because if not, then you are going to have kind of nothing happen. You do have to set some expectations of what you want to have. So this could be as simple as, I'm going to take 45 minutes from work to go for a walk and be by myself. And don't take your phone. That's the other thing too, is you have to disconnect from your phone, disconnect from everything. Literally just be by yourself. And have some questions that you may want to ask yourself. Have some thoughts that you want to ask yourself. How's my day going? Could I do anything to make this day better? Is there anything I wish I could do that would be a little bit out of my comfort zone that I should try doing today? Things like that. When you have the alone time to start thinking about it, You're going to actually start planning out what you want to do once you get back to being around everyone in order to execute on that and be able to accomplish more. And then if you have self goals, you know, while you're spending that time alone on your own, you could have the goal of like just learning something new, starting a new hobby, doing something that's just for you, something that is not tied with anyone else. No one else really needs to know much about it. If anyone asks, you know, you tell them a little bit about it, but this is just something that's for you. And I would say get used to planning this at least once or twice throughout the week. If you can plan it once or twice throughout the day of small intervals, that works better. But if it works better for you to plan a whole day out, just one day out of the week, do that as well too. But when you start actually planning when you want to spend time alone, you'll start to build up a habit of just doing it, and then you'll look forward to every time that you have time to just spend alone. And so another way that you can do this as well is just completely running away. I mean, that sounds kind of weird, but yeah, it's very simple to just run away sometimes. Sometimes shit could just be too much. I know when it comes down to me personally, I had to do this before as well too. Dealing with family. That could be a lot for some people. And when you're always around family, that could be very, very hard to try to get away from family because it's family. And when you try to explain to your family that you need this alone time and things like that, sometimes they guilt you into not doing it. They make you feel like shit for wanting to spend time by yourself. Oh, you don't want to spend time with us? Oh, you don't want to do, oh, so you're not part of the family. Like, no, I just need my alone time. So if it is just easier for you to run away, do it. I'm telling you, you'll feel better. You're going to run away. When you run away, have a plan. Plan what you're going to do with your time when you're alone. And then after some time, if it comes to it, maybe you need to go back. When you do go back, have a plan to spend time by yourself in those intervals that I was talking about earlier throughout your week. Because I'm telling you, family could be a lot sometimes. But take what you need out of this, and like I said, plan some time to be alone, run away if you need to, and plan what you're going to do with your time alone. With your time alone, this is going to help you become more comfortable with yourself, help you become more understanding of yourself, help you know how you should feel in like certain areas or certain places. It's going to start making you question your own beliefs and make you start realizing if your morals for yourself and your values for yourself are really what you want. And when you start doing that, you're going to start becoming more comfortable with yourself. And when you become more comfortable with yourself, you can start to master solitude. And when you master solitude, it basically unlocks like another part of yourself, because now you have an appreciation more for yourself because you actually know how to spend time by yourself. So hopefully this video has been helpful. This has been about the power of being alone. Peace.